So, state your name,
Steven Bradoff,
and how would you describe your younger self in 3 words?
my younger self,
Yeah.
motivated and energetic.
What was your childhood like?
Typical childhood, you know. Mom, dad, church, you know, I graduated, you know, church, you know, school, you know, into the church and that. Running around neighborhood, you know, we had the kind of neighborhood, there was only one way coming in, one way going out, so, all the kids in there all hung together, you know, played games, you know, the kind that should be still going on. But
Yeah.
Kick the can, hide and seek, you know, that kind of stuff.
That was all video games and
Yeah.
everything. What was school like when you attended it?
Nothing like it is today. I mean, most any kind of violence or anything like that was all settled with fists.
Okay.
And broken up by the teachers, you know, and then you know, the things, you know, we haven't after that, but.
Did you enjoy it? Like the school?
Oh, yeah,
Did
yeah.
you enjoy school?
I enjoyed school.
So, was there a big push for higher education back when you were attending high school?
Yeah, actually it was.
So people are still like,
Yeah.
wanting to go to college,
Right.
degree, things like
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah, I was a baby boomer, so I mean, I was right at the beginning of that type of thing, you know.
Okay, yeah. Did you work as part-time in high school?
Only my senior year, that COE, they have, you know, where you go to your half your day, and then the other half the day you go to a class, I mean, you go to
yeah.
work somewhere, and that's gonna be part of your grade, 'cause,
Okay.
you know.
So
I
that
don't
was,
even know if they do that anymore, but,
yeah, maybe. But was that part of your, that was pretty much what you were doing during high school, right?
yeah.
Okay. What was the job market like when you graduated?
Actually, at the time, there was actually a lot of jobs, that's how I ended up at Chrysler, because, I mean, they were hiring like a couple thousand people, they were starting a whole new shift. So, I mean, like, we loaded up a car of guys, you know, everybody in the car got hired, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, 18 years old,
So, when did you start working at the plant?
18 years old, 73.
73?
Year I graduated from high school.
Okay. How long did you work for the Chrysler plant for?
35 years.
35 years. Okay. What made you choose the Chrysler plant for the job?
I got a family farm in Missouri, down in California, Missouri, so we drive by the plant on 44 all the time when I was a kid. And I was telling my dad, man, what are they doing that thing? And he told me at that time, you know, they were still building, well, it was at the end of the Korean War, so they were still building, well, I don't know, maybe they weren't doing that in there then, but I know he told me about it, building, you know, tanks and stuff like that. So I was always interested in kids. Finally, as I got older, you know, 12 years old, and then I was telling him, I'm gonna go to work in that place someday. He goes, no, yeah. And that's what I ended up doing. Because it was 4 times minimum wage. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I mean, today that would be, you know, what, $28 an hour or about, you know?
Yep.
So it was, back then it was $5 an hour, minimum wage was only 90 cents, so.
Did you have a family of your own when you started to work at the plant?
Actually I did.
You did?
Everything in 73. Graduated 73, got married 73. At the end of 73, had a kid. And we're working 73. Really.
What was the impact the job made in your life?
Oh, money-wise, big. Because the job I had that I was doing in high school, actually that job would have turned out actually even bigger. Because it was learning electronics and that.
Oh.
But the guy wouldn't pay me no more than $1.25 an hour, you know.
Okay.
And I had family. And so Chrysler was saying, well, we'll give you $5 an hour. So what are you gonna do, you know? But he was willing to put me through school and everything in electronics. I should have done it, because I mean, if I could have struggled through that, you know, that would have changed my life there.
Were you allowed break times during your shift?
Yeah, 11 and 12. In fact, I was a relief man. That was one of my first jobs.
Okay. What types of activities did you engage during break time?
Hanging outside, you know, with the guys, you know.
This is the classic, right?
Yeah, classic. You know, going and visiting people. A lot of times people use their break time to go visit people in the plant. Because the plant was so big, it was a mile long and a half mile wide, so, you know, to cut across the plant, you gotta walk a mile, you know? So, you know, he had friends were in certain areas. In fact, some areas you might not even know anybody in the area.
So what were the working conditions like?
Actually, compared to now, or just, well, when I went in there, I perceived, you know, I didn't really think, oh, this is bad, you know. But what we were going through, like, not until summer started, and then, because they didn't have air conditioning in place. And they didn't have fans to start with, you know, along the line and stuff. We fought for all that, getting fans every 20 feet is one of the things we fight for. But like a lot of people, I mean, we'd have at least, there was always a thing, at least one person would die from heat exhaustion in that place every summer, you know, to where in paint, we'll give you an idea how hot it gets. When you go up the steps, I worked on the bottom, I worked in chassis, and down there it would be, say, 98 degrees inside, right, with no air moving, you know, just all, you know, air guns, you know, and stuff like that. You go up to the second floor, which where paint was, and as you go up the steps and you make the second round, you go up to the second star, you could feel the heat change. You open up the door, they keep thermometers up there. It could be anywhere from 105 to 130 degrees up there. So, and then say you work on the line and you got one of the worst jobs up there is like ammonia hole. And that's where cars come out of an oven where they've been painted with primer, and then the oven dries the primer. They come out of there, you have to wipe them down with buckets of diluted 50% ammonia. So when you're wiping the car down, you got the steam coming off of it. I mean, I don't even know what that ever did to them guys that worked up there. Can you imagine breathing ammonia all day long and stuff? But yeah, no air conditioning, 100 degrees.
How did your job affect the relationship with your family? If it did.
Yeah. I don't think it really affected them. My daughter says nowadays, because I got a daughter that's all grown up, got kids of her own now. She tells me that I was away too much, you know, because of the job. But, you know, they make you work a lot of overtime, you know. Back then, it changed. We went on strike to fight for that change too. In fact, a lot of overtime laws nowadays are from the UAW, us fighting for them.
Did you feel like your physical health suffered as a result from working in the factory?
Yeah, walking on steel plates, oh yeah. But then again, also, I mean, definitely the plant will affect your hearing and your feet, because you're walking on steel plates all day long, no good. I think about 1980, between 85 and 1990, they started to go into ergonomics in the place.
Oh.
You know, where they would actually put pads down in certain areas where a person had to stand all the time in one spot. So, I mean, they were working at it, you know. I mean, I think once again, the union fighting for that stuff, you know. But I would say hearing is one of the losses in that place. And then they started giving you earplugs and earmuffs too.
Okay, so it was really
Right.
none of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So like you mentioned, you worked in chassis, so part of the assembly line, right?
Right.
So if so, what was it like when someone slowed down the progression?
We didn't care.
You guys didn't care, alright. I was wondering if like the higher ups cared or.
No, I tell you, you know, like, how do you mean?
Like, let's say, you know, someone maybe had a rough day.
And then they decided they wanted to stop the line?
Well, not stop the line, it's a lot slower than they normally do, you know.
I mean, yeah, there's people, I'll tell you the truth, man, that was one of the things that, you know, okay, say 18 years old, you go in there at 18. You're around these guys that are all 20s and their 30s, you know. So, I mean, so they're a lot older than me, and they're showing me the ropes, and they tell me a lot of things. They said, if you ever seen the line, just freeze up. Because this line's like, the chain on our section of the line was probably the length of a football field, so 300 yards. Okay, so you got a 300-yard chain being pulled by a gear, so that's, you know, pulling all the engines and everything, so that's really strong, right? Okay, if you ever see it stop, just freeze up, like, you know, quickly like that. You're supposed to step back because something was jammed on there and it's gonna snap. And when it snaps, it'll fly forward like 2 or 3 car lengths. You know, with whatever's on there, an engine on a frame, you know, and your back's to it, you know, knock you right down. But yeah, because people would, I mean, like you say, there'd be people that have bad days, you know. I mean, when you got 2,000 people, you got some, you know, you always have some crazy ones in there. And they'll put, one of the favorite things to do is they take a tire iron or a tire tool or a torsion bar, that's what it is, torsion bar, and they'd stick it in the line where the 2 plates, when they go around the gear, that bar would be right there so it wouldn't go around. It would just jam like that, and the chain would snap, and everything would slide. And then we'd be off for a day or 2. With pay, because it wouldn't be our fault, you know what I mean? And they had to figure out how the line broke, you know. I didn't do that though. Just slow you down.
Well, that was the next question. Were you the one?
No,
slow down the progression?
No. I was always one of the guys that just stood back and just waited, you know, like for that to happen, you know. I mean, when it happened, I enjoyed it. Everybody did.
What were the consequences though?
Oh, you get fired immediately.
Immediately.
Oh, you get fired.
What were experiences like with the foreman?
I got along with most of my foremen. The very first foreman I had, I was 18. My wife was pregnant. She had a false labor one time, so I ended up, having to go, to the hospital. It turned out to be a false labor. I only had 88 days, and they call you a 90-day wonder. If you can make it to 90 days, the union can back you. But if you're prior to 90 days, the union can't back you, right? So this is an 88 day, and it was a false labor. So I come back, and he wanted proof that she had a baby, and it said it was a false labor. So he tried to fire me. The union stuck up on me, and I don't know, maybe they just liked me. But
Well, how did the foreman treat other workers in this sense?
it all depends. I mean, it's a truth and non-offense. That thing where like if a general supervisor would come by and yell at the foreman, the foreman's going to turn around and yell at the people. But if the foreman's smart, they're going to be good with the people. Each foreman have about 20 to 30 people in their section. So they're taking, they're involved in personally with 25 people every day, right? So you're going to try to stay on their good side. You don't want to, because you don't want to get on a bunch of guys' bad side. They can start cross-threading things. It's a fact. That there's always a give and take. Between the. But our foremen are always good guys. And got along with us, and we did really good, made them look good. So then they didn't get yelled at. So.
That's good.
Yeah.
Were there any ever injuries?
Oh yeah.
Were you ever injured?
Oh yeah. I've been injured a few times.
Like what injuries? Were common, I should say.
I tore out the ACL on my knee when I was working underneath the car with air gun like this, and it torqued out on me, and I turned wrong, tore out the ACL on my knee. I crossed the line one time, and my knee fractured my kneecap on a bar that was sticking out. Of course, I'm not supposed to be crossing the line there, so that kind of was my fault. And then when I worked at the parts depot part, I had a forklift with a transmission on it, crushed my right foot and break my toe, big toe. Fractured it, went around with a pin sticking on my foot for.
So how did you seek treatment? Was there health insurance in a sense back
Excellent health insurance.
That was them?
No, yeah, there is excellent health
Yeah.
insurance.
Oh, there's excellent health.
Oh yeah, I got it right now, even retired, man. I got the same health insurance I had when I was in the plant.
From the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one thing about, because, once you get in the union and you get the health insurance, there's eyeglass and dental, everything, don't pay for hardly anything.
So how important was clocking in and out of work?
Oh, that's a pain in the ass, standing in line, everybody runs to see who can get there first, be the first one clocking out.
Oh.
People have other people, that's one of the jobs the foreman would always sit there and watch them, see if someone tries clocking out 2 cars. Somebody split, go get the car, get it up front. Because like I said, the plant, as big as it was, our parking lots were a mile long, and quarter mile wide, it was huge. We'd sit out there in the parking lot after work, and way up at the end, away from the guard shacks. You can take this under now. And anyway, we'd sit up there and we'd drinking beer, right? We could see the guard shack, and it's like 2/3 of a mile away, And you could see them jumping in the golf cart before they could get there. We had everything gone, all our beer cans.
Was there any consequences of being late?
Yeah, if you're late, I think it takes 3 times. Let me turn this off. I forgot I could turn that off. Anyway, refresh me.
What was the consequence of being late?
Oh, okay, you get like 3 warnings, and then you can actually get a day off, if you don't have an excuse, So you get like 3 warnings, and you get a day off, and then if you're late again, after that's your 5th time, you get maybe 3 days off, then a week, then a month, then you're fired takes a long time to get fired, get processed in union. And then plus each one of those things, it's a write-up. Your warnings are written warnings.
Okay.
You know, and they get filed, and you come down, and when they file a written warning, I mean, this is the whole process, right? And the union argues the point of why it was late. If you got any proof, can you go get a doctor's note? Can you do this? You know, if you go see a doctor and get a doctor's note, you know, and say that's what you're doing, whatever, you know, and try to stay out of
So,
trouble.
like, everyone was there pretty much on the same time, they
Yeah.
left at the same
Yeah,
time?
if you were late, they had absentee guys. That's what their job was, to fill in your job.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
like
and then this will help you too, understand. Then we had, you know, chassis, and you have trim and paint and metal shop, right? So if you were, if there was a lot of people late, you know, just in one department, they would take us, because I was a relief man, I gave the guy their break. They would shut down for breaks, which is expensive for them, because they gotta be down 11 to 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And they'd send us over to that department and put us on one of their jobs.
Oh,
See, so, I mean, we were expendable. They'd start with the absentee guys. They, you know, chassis would call over to, you know, metal shop and, or, you know, to trim and say, do you have any extra guys? And we can't even start yet, because we don't have enough guys, you know.
so the absentee guys are like always on standby, on call?
Yeah,
or-
they're always being used, because there's always people not coming in, or, you know.
So they still physically show up to work?
Right.
Okay.
See, because you put in for a day off, too.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's another thing, the job of farming is to, you know, to look at, you know, the schedule and see who's off. And when the absentee guys come in, they say, okay, you do this job, you do this, you know. And then they see who's late, they wait until the line starts. A lot of times they'll have the repairman, which also like, I was a repairman for a while, they'd have them cover those jobs. Anything to get the line running,
Okay.
you know, borrow, you know.
What type of transportation did you use to get to and off work?
I carpooled a lot, because guys, they live by work. But, car and motorcycle and pickup.
Is there a specific brand?
Huh?
Was it specific brands or
Chrysler products.
all kinds?
Because we got them so cheap.
Okay, because you guys got actually employee discounts?
We could order, the price we paid for our vehicle, we could order from the dealer and had all the bells and whistles put on that thing, and we're paying the price that you would if there was nothing on there back then. Now everything has all,
Yeah.
I'm talking about electric windows
Yeah.
and all that stuff, you know.
Okay.
But, except the bike was hard.
What would you do if your source of transportation was running late, or let's say if you were late?
If I was running late, if I had an excuse, I'd just go straight in the clock in and go to my job, you know.
Okay.
If, you can come in at half a day, you know, they had, that's another thing too, they had two types of being late. You could be late the first part, you're only in trouble for the first, you know, 4 hours, you know. If you know, if you come in anytime after the first 4 hours, they can just send you home. And they say, we don't want you, you know, but you had to be in before those 4 hours, you know, if you're gonna be that late, or you had to tell them, you know. But,
Do you enjoy working in the factory?
oh yeah, I mean, I didn't enjoy the work, but I enjoyed the atmosphere.
Okay.
I mean, we had a softball team, you know, we played cards at work, you know, break time. I mean, I forgot about that, you know, we had to play cards. Hey, at break time, there was guys in there that literally ran delis inside the building. I mean, you go over the repair pit where these guys are working on cars, and down there you'd have hot dogs going, you know, a little grill down there, because they have plugs and stuff. And then you have sodas down there, and you get a hot dog and a soda for 50 cents, you know, go back to your job. And there was one guy, he's where they put, material, I mean, in the seats, where they built the seats, they had steam, tables where they steam the, you know, so they could pull the, you know, the material over the seat. And, on those steam tables, they have steaks and onions frying on, like, you know, so you can go get a steak, you can get anything at work, you know, you get a steak.
Wow, that's actually.
I'm telling you. Now, why wouldn't you like it? You know?
Exactly.
I mean, you know, other than getting sweat in the job, you know.
Was there a lot of diversity throughout the factory?
Oh yeah.
Was it
Oh yeah.
a pretty diverse group?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do these diverse working environments affect overall production?
It worked fine.
They work
Oh
fine?
yeah. You know, I would say the only time there was, you know, a period where you get fighting between, you know, you know, these, you know, would be stuff over like fans and, you know, stupid things, you know, I mean, and the union would step in and pretty well quell it, you know.
Okay.
But we all got, I mean, everybody got along in that place, you know, I mean, you had your fights, I mean, it's like a city.
Yeah.
So you had your arguments between people, but it didn't matter who you were, you know.
How are those normally handled?
Supervisor, if anybody sees it going on, supervisor catches it going on, you know, they take them, you know, straight down to, you know, to the main office, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And send them in there and wait, the union rep comes down before they can talk to them.
Okay. Was there any like secretive like fights in the back or something that?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, all kinds of, you know, stuff went on the side. I mean, tell you what, any supervisor that worked there doesn't, you know, would say that they never seen none of the stuff go on in that place, you know. And, you know, I mean, stuff like, stuff you could get fired for, you know, but it, you know, it's not hurting anybody, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like drag racing some of the cars down the back of the building when they're telling us to bring them around, park the other end, you know? I mean, when you get in a, what are you, you're in a Duster with a 340 in it, 4-speed, what are you gonna do, you know? Brand new, you know? We had a quarter mile marked off in the back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know,
It was a lot of fun.
we had to have fun. That kept us sane, you know.
Were you guys well compensated for your work?
Yeah, we make good money. I would say, you know. Let's see, a lot of supervisors, I mean, they would always say, you know, you're the highest paid unskilled worker, you know, in the state. We were the highest paid unskilled workers. That's it.
Like without a degree in a sense, right?
Right,
Okay.
yeah, or carpenter, or electrician, you know,
Yeah.
skilled workers. And they didn't say we had skills, but you had to have skills to work in that place, man. We had all our own anyway, we had our own carpenters, our own electricians.
So before the plant closing, did the company let you know it was closing?
In '92, let's see, the plant closed in 2008. I wasn't here for that, but what I've been told by my friends since I got back, I've been back 3 years, and I've been back involved with 136 and, you know, the union stuff here. Actually, I'm transferring back to 136 here from that union, just because I live here. You know.
Okay, yeah.
Well, they're, you know, retiring meetings or something. But anyway, they said that they put them out the door with the intentions of not just plain closing it. It all happened so quick. They told me, you know, I mean, 'cause they still took, you know, post on there, you know, like when they had the golf tournament and they used our facility over here as a parking lot to shuttle people to the PGA tournament, right? Yeah, it was a big thing on our website. Like people were pissed. They're saying, because they were, I forget who was this, you know, our representative for the area, you know, back then, you know, in 2008. But whoever the, you know, government officials, you know, they're bad mouthing them, you know, like, oh yeah, Fenton sell this out, you know, all this stuff over for a golf, so they can have a parking lot for a golf. My sister took me by there, and that thing is flat. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I got back here. I mean, because if you've been in those facilities, they have trenches. I mean, not trenches, but, you know, pits to work in. And that was all built. There's no sign of anything. I figured at least there'd be concrete slabs. I mean, they literally dug the ground up, eliminated everything. It blew my mind, you know.
So what was the atmosphere like in those plants the last few days?
Like again, I wasn't there in 2008, you know. But I was told that, you know, that I've been in there a couple times from the plant. We thought it was closing.
Okay.
So I mean, it was probably that same atmosphere, I would think. You know, like you don't know what you're doing. You know, like in '79, I had this major layoff. I was laid off for 3 years. I moved to Florida, and they called me back. You know, from there, they actually got hold of me and said, "Hey, you want your job back?" You know, but I thought they closed. You know, then.
Okay.
But,
So like, because you were thinking it was closing,
Yeah.
was there any signs that you thought it was closing or something? There was no like, you know, giveaway sign like, oh, this is.
I'm sure there was signs. You know, like I said, I wasn't there in 2008. So
Yeah.
That's the problem here. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can tell you everything prior to '92. You know, I mean, in '92, they basically, that's why I took the job out there. I was running out of unemployment. I was running out of what we call sub-pay, you know? It's a reimbursement because of the fact that we're laid off is the sales of foreign products, you know. So, they had to pay a sub pay, so I mean, we got about, I'd say about 80% of our pay, you know, and sitting at home. But then it was running out, and they said, here, we're gonna give you an opportunity, you can go on this wait list, you know, for the plant to open up, or you can take one of these jobs, you know, because your seniority calls and you can do it. So I put in for, you know, a job out there, not thinking I'd get it, and I ended up calling me on it.
So going further on that, it's like, when you were laid off, how long was it before you found another stable income, like source of stable income?
Oh, it wasn't long.
It wasn't long.
No, unless it was a mile change layoff or something like that, where it's like, we're off for the whole summer. Used to love those things, man. Anywhere from a month to 3 months sitting at home, 80% of your money. We'd always go on vacations, you know, and stuff like that. Unemployment knew about us, you know, we're supposed to be looking for work, you know, that was the rule, get your unemployment. They go in there and they just say, turn in the farm, you know, turn in the farm, we didn't have to fill it out or nothing. Just sign it, turn it in, because they knew we were going back. They said it, like they said, who's gonna offer you a job when you're making twice as much at an assembly plant, you know?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you can go to work for us here, you know, but then we know you're not gonna be here 3 months from now or 2 months from now, you know, they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, so you told me earlier that you had pictures or,
Oh, I tell you, I'll just show you what I brought, you know?
That's fine, yeah.
Actually, a lot of it's just, oh, I tell you, what would you like to know about the SRG? I'll show you now. The senior-
I'm a very big car enthusiast.
Have you ever heard of the SRG? Yep. And any of this, you know? Okay, it's called the Seniority Research Group. What it was is when we were laid off, in that period for 3 years, I'll tell you before I show you. When we were laid off in that period of 3 years, we didn't get our bonuses like anybody else did in the plant behind us who had less seniority than us.
Okay.
You know? So what we did was we formed this group and we sued, you know, Chrysler, because we actually were suing Chrysler and the UAW both. Our group was, and for that money at that time. We had actually won it, won the suit, but I don't think we got the money. But they gave us all our back days, so they recouped us 3 years of, you know, as far as seniority, you know. So they paid, you know, I guess they paid your Social Security for 3 years, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, oh, here's some of the things they did when they laid us off. They sent you to school. So I got all these certificates for these things, went to school for all these things. You know, so every time you're laid off,
Yeah. Outboard motor repair, advanced small engine repair.
and that's not all of them. Plus I went to Merrimack, you know, and I was going there for an associate's degree in landscape design, right? And I'm like missing, you know, a couple hours of getting it, because they hadn't called me back to work, and I didn't feel like going to college anywhere. But, you know, they paid for it.
The school was in Michigan, right?
It was a Michigan school, but Chrysler paid for these guys, and like right across from Chrysler, there was these, we had this, 2 big halls, and we're almost where Stratford is, but, you know. Anyway, they'd have school classes there.
Oh.
And we go in there for classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where you got these.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that is. Anyway, this is the SRG. You wanna just read and check this out. Here's 2 letters from, this is our actual newspaper that we handed out.
Oh.
It's just a newspaper, you know, but I thought maybe, you know, me just sitting there saying the SRG, you wouldn't know what that was about. I thought maybe you could
This
read.
was also a year after, no, this is on September 11th.
Yeah.
In the future.
But it ran for 2 more years, because when I was in Oregon, they sent me a final letter telling me what the results were. We were supposed to receive, what we were suing for was basically about $45,000 a person, and there was 1,800 of us. So that'd been $45,000 a person that they would have to pay us. Plus give us our back seniority, you know, the 3 years of seniority, you know. And I was told since I've been back that they paid some of the money, but I didn't see none of it. They said Phil Portwood, you know, big controversy, you know, got money and all that kind of stuff, you know. But I don't know. As long as I got my seniority, that's all I cared about. I wasn't worried about the money, you know, it was too far gone, you know. But, I did anything that had Chrysler on it, I brought. Oh, this is one that workman's comp. I had to get an attorney for my workman's comp. Yeah.
Workers' compensation?
Yeah, Chrysler.
December 20, 1991.
Yeah, yeah, this is some unemployment.
I was almost born.
Huh?
I was almost born.
I know.
2 years later.
I know, and that's I know, I feel old now. Every time my daughter works at this bar by my house, you know, she runs it. My daughter's 45. So, I got a grandson 24, a grandson 22, and two granddaughters, twin granddaughters 18, and then 2 great grandkids. Come on, man, that's unemployment crap, I don't know if you even want to see that.
Security.
What's this? Oh, here, I thought this one might be interesting. This here was, this here gives you all the different areas of the plan, and show you the people. You know, I don't know, it's probably so technical, if I ain't looking at it, fall asleep looking at it. Ohio area, this is all the plant, UAW, Chrysler UAW, in
Oh,
Ohio area.
Detroit, yeah.
Yeah, and then, yeah, there's Detroit area, North Central area. Eastern area. Yeah, I don't know why you want to look at that. Anyway, oh, here, Chrysler gave us this one year. I posted, we got a, you know, where you guys got a hold of me on that website, you know, Chrysler South Plant. I posted that on there the other day, look at this. I still got it in a box too. They handed, when Daimler Chrysler,
Yeah, I remember Dominic started with it.
so they gave everybody who worked Chrysler a watch, Swatch watch.
Oh.
So you go on, you know, like look for the collectors, you know, they collect the
Yeah.
Swatch watches. Yeah. I told them that's the last time I looked, it was like $100, but I think it's gone down now.
Do they make a limited amount of these?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, well, just every single employee, and like most employees, they'd either put them on and wear them and they were broke, you know, and I just stuck mine away, I don't even wear it. I don't wear a watch anymore. But, you know, it's pretty bad. Oh, and then, that's my 35-year thing.
30 years.
This is the plaque they gave me from the SRG, because I was a member of the committee, you know. It's kind of wild too, because here I'm just a, you know, I'm not, it's 1990, you know, so I'm what, 36 years old, right? So, I'm sitting at a table with these other guys from SRG, and we're all about the same age. And across the table from us is the head of Chrysler, the head of the UAW, and we're suing these guys. You know, it was like, I'm sitting like, you know, I started thinking, am I gonna, you know, make it through the week, you know? You know what I mean? Not just as an employee, I've been alive, right? Anyway, it was fun. I was curious. A couple people, I don't know, would not probably even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we played ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the team I was on, we were always kind of a losing team. But the best team in our league liked us because we drank good and partied with them, and we enjoyed playing with them, right? So anyway, when they played in the tournament, there's always this UAW tournament, and it's nationwide. All the teams from all over the United States, other factories, play in this tournament. And they always play in it, and they've never won it. You know, it's always a team from Kansas City who's always winning it. But anyway, so they invited me to pitch, because I was a pitcher. They invited me to pitch. We beat them this year, and that's what flag I got. Finally, the first year that the St. Louis plant won it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I found out, see, when I went, you know, moved back here, this summer, I took a road trip, and me and another guy, same age as me, we drove from here to Oregon to pick up my stuff. And we did it 5.5 days, 4,700 miles. Anyway, so when I got back, I started going through stuff, and I found all this, you know. I think I told you, was it you I was talking to?
Yeah.
I told you that I was, you know, I'm gonna bring up stuff back, you know, that I could find it. And this was, I found all this in this briefcase. But, yeah, that was it.
Pretty interesting.
I thought you might get a kick out of seeing it.
You have any other stories to tell about the Chrysler plant?
Let's see, what else can I tell you about the truck?
The strike?
Oh, the strike.
The strike,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, let me tell you about the strike. Yeah. We used to get these trucks that come, right? You know, and they tell us, you know, I'm gonna let them through the gate, you know, and you do everything you could, you know, other than get step in front of them, you know, and drive over you. So what we designed was we had white styrofoam batting, you know, white stuff, you know, you pop it, you know, anyway, we take those penny nails, they call them, they're about that big carpenter nails, right? And you stick them through the styrofoam, so you wouldn't even see them, right? And you just hold the bat. You got all these nails, you know, and you're holding the bat, you know, and the truck pulls up, and while they're talking to the driver up there, you stick them in front of his trailer tires, all the trailer tires. So as soon as he pulls forward, whoosh, now he's sitting there, nobody else can get in the driveway, you know? Yeah, that was one of the things we did. Oh, one time we went to that one team I was telling you about. We go to ball games, like when the Cardinals play in the afternoon. So we get together and we go down there and watch an afternoon game. So we went to this one, it was like 21 inning game, right? And so we're running late for work and we're drunk. So we go up to the Union Hall. So what they had us do is they had us just all go in. There's about 8 of us. All go in and lay on the couches, and, you know, and then they called down to the company and told them, hey, they're on union business for the day. So they got, you know, kept us from getting in trouble, you know. But yeah, we used to have fun. You know, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, actually, believe it or not.
So you,
Race cars in the parking lot.
that's something I would probably do, honestly.
Yeah, I'm guaranteeing you, if you were in a Roadrunner and you were going down the back of the plant, and there's nobody around, there's nothing around, you'd nail it and go, you know. I mean, there was guys like, we'd hear about so-and-so, oh, did you hear what happened? No, what happened? So-and-so hit a rack of transmissions in the back. And all these transmissions come bouncing on the old, you know, the used car. I mean, the used car now, right? I remember one time I was going down, I had this one boss, big guy, named Charlie Wilson. And I had a guy in the car with me, and we were driving down the side of the plant, and they do stuff like this, you know, you reach over and shove it in reverse on you. I mean, it's not your, you know what I mean? I mean, it'll get fixed before it goes out the door. I mean, I know somebody ordered it, you know, I mean, you know, the public, if they only knew, especially the, plus we drank, you know, and to put up with working in there. You know, I mean, like, the guy I rode to work with, I mean, we drink a 6-pack on the way to work. We go out at lunchtime, get a 6-pack, drink that, and then get a 12-pack and drink that on the way home. Or we probably go back to the same bar and drank a half of it. And, you know, so, I mean, we were drinking a case of beer a day, the two of us, you know. But I'm not an alcoholic. I don't even drink hardly anymore, you know. Now I'm on 3 beers, you know, that's it. Yeah. But and then we get summer help. Oh, there's a story. You guys, you know, guys your age would put in to work there for 3 months during the summer while you're, you know, out of school, right? I mean, you can make, in 3 months, you can make $30,000. How's that for tuition, you know? You know what I mean? Because they paid you the same as they're paying us. But we used to make bets because they bring in, they give us like 3 or 4 college students, you know, and you can take it yourself and say, hey, I got a college, my daughter goes to college, you know, put an application in. A lot of people brought their kids in and stuff. But we take bets on the kids coming in on who would last, you know, 2 days in there, 2 days. And then we had a turnover rate of something like 70% would be gone within the end of the week. Now, and then they just call some more, and but we go through those kids. I mean, because a simple job of like doing brake lines, one of the jobs I had, you just got a brake line, you take the brake line, you toss it over that guy, and then the hubs, you know, you'd be screwing them in at the back of the hub, right? Just a little tiny nut, right? Do that once a minute for about an hour, and the next thing you know, you start getting a blister. Then the blister breaks. Then you can't really touch it, but you have to. So you start taping your finger right over the blister. You put tape, you know, so you can. It takes you average about a week and a half to get your fingers tough enough to do the job. Yeah. Once you got it done, then you grab brake lines, and you and the other guy, or you work way up the line, about 10 cars, you know, and then you go run off for 10 minutes. You didn't have to worry about it. I used to do the spring leaps, where you press the bushings in and hand to the guy for the cross line. So that something like 70, 80 pounds leaf springs, 2 of them a minute, pressing them and handing to the guy. So anyway, you build a table up, and then the guy, you would take off, and he'd put all the springs on, and you'd come back, and he could take off, and you put springs on for him. But you took turns, and you did that kind of stuff too.
It's a lot of teamwork involved.
Mhm.
There.
And when I was a relief man, you had 7 guys you gave breaks to, and you give them 11 minutes the first time around, and 12 minutes the second time around. Then they go to lunch, then they get 11 and 12 again. And when it was, when it got above 98, I think it was, they gave you an extra 5 minutes, and you divided it, so you get like 15 and 14 or something like that.
So out of curiosity, which cars did you actually work on? Like which model?
We had Roadrunners, Dusters. It was actually the body style.
Okay.
All Roadrunners were all B-body style, which was a Roadrunner. It could be a Sebring. To us, they come down, they look the same, and then you start putting the trim on it, and that's when it turns it in from a Roadrunner to a Sebring or a Satellite, and changes them like that. And the same way with the Dusters, you get a Dodge Dart Demon or a Plymouth Duster. Those are the 2 we built.
Okay.
As far as race cars,
Yeah.
fast cars. I was lucky. I got there just as they were getting rid of the Hemi, so I had 1 year running around with Hemis in the cars. Then for all those years, they didn't put Hemis in, and then they started doing it in 2000, was it? I think they started putting Hemis in vehicles again in the 90s, maybe. They might have started doing it in the 90s.
So you worked with Hemis for like about 1 year.
Yeah, I loved it. But we still had the 440, 340, small block, And it depends on what you got too in the car, how they ordered it. Like you get one coming off the line, you go, oh man, this is a Dodge Dart Demon. I'm gonna drive this one. Yeah, it was fun.
And then, so let's say, while working on these cars in the Chrysler plant, did it help you work on other cars, like a different car?
Oh yeah. Back in those days, that was I could still pull them engine apart, put it together, do all that kind of stuff. I don't know nowadays. I take
Well,
my
now
car to
everything's a
the mechanic.
supercomputer.
Yeah,
Supercomputer.
I stopped when they went from stopping putting a distributor in the car. That's when I stopped working on them.
Okay.
Where you had set points.
Yeah.
I don't know if you even know what that is.
A little bit.
Have you ever set the points in the car?
No.
Ever know? Our gap with spark plugs. And nowadays they come pre-gapped and pretty well right now. You have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but we used to race. I was in drag racing. We had an actual Dodge Dart Demon that me and the guy built.
Did you guys ever have this plant makes a drag race car with like spare parts or something like that?
Yeah, well, we had the plant right behind us too, plant 2,
Okay.
That was actually the van plant. So there was 2 plants right next to each other.
Oh.
So when you hear Assembly South, that was our plant, the car plant in front, 136.
Mm-hmm.
The plant behind it was 110, local 110, and that'd be Assembly North.
Okay.
The way they're shaped, south is this way, north.
Yeah. Okay, so the one behind was actually for
Yeah.
vans. Was it like?
Yeah, there was a truck plant. They called it the truck plant. Started out that. They were actually just building pickup trucks.
Oh, Christ. Oh.
Yeah. And then they switched to vans, making minivans back there. Minivan plant, they called it.
Okay.
We always built A body, B body, station wagons. We built station wagons. Remember the old station wagons with the wood grain on them? Yeah. Did all that.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know. I have a question. You guys have any questions?
What's your fondest moment? What's your fondest memory of the plane, working in the plane?
Honest memory. Probably, actually in the plane itself,
Or
it would be playing softball. I ain't kidding you. We had so much fun. We played 2 games, right? 2 complete inning games, right?
Yeah.
9 inning games, or 7 innings for softball. And then go to work. And it'd be 98 degrees, and we'd be drinking beer, playing ball, and then we go from there in there and go to work. So I mean that you had to be having fun,
Yeah.
And then lunchtime, that was fun memories. I love lunch because we'd sneak out, we'd jump in the car. If somebody had the car ready, whoever would get out that door first. Some guys would work up the line and go get the car. But then we all run down to Dixon's. There was like 3 or 4 bars around there too. That part of it too. I don't know if you want this part. But anyway, there's 3 or 4 bars around there. We just call them Chrysler bars, you know. You walk in them, and that's all that was in there was Chrysler workers, you know. I mean, because you got 3,000 workers, so you had to go somewhere. Fenton made money off of us. That's why I was surprised they closed that place. Let them do it, you know. But one of the bars was called the Queen of Hearts. Don't exist no more. You guys ever heard of that?
No.
No. It is right on the River Road, just down past the plant in Fenton. And it was a pasty type bar, you know, where the girls had pasties and wore bikini bottoms. But now we got to know, I mean, I knew that I was going in, when I was 12 years old, I used to ride my bike on Lindbergh, where I lived in Ronnie Hills. I'd ride down to Gravois, and then I'd take Gravois all the way down and go to the Queen of Hearts, me and a couple guys. And we'd park out in front, and we'd wait till the door opened up so we could look in and see the girl dancers in there, you know, 10, 11, 12 years old. I mean, that's a long ways. I bet that's 8 miles, 9 miles, 10 miles, something like that.
Dedication.
Yeah, as a kid on the bike, nowadays you wouldn't do that. You know? Or if your mom and dad found out about it, you'd get your ass whipped. But yeah, and then so now I'm 18, I'm going to Chrysler, and these guys are all 20, over 21, come on. Oh, that's another thing too. First couple of years I worked at Chrysler, these guys took me around, showed me all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? I was an innocent man, you know? And they took me to the Queen of Hearts, and they said, just sit down in the booth. Well, I'm 21. So anyway, Frida, that's her name, that owned the bar. That's how I met her. And I knew her all those years too, so. Anyway, she come over and hey, beer, okay. And she looks at him, what about him? Oh, he works at Chrysler, he just hired him. Oh, okay. And then she went, you know, because I always had a beard anyway. So anyway, when I turned 21, right, 3 years later, I was sitting in there, and these guys are going, hey, Frida, Steve just turned 21. Are you gonna give him his beer? Because she always gave you a beer on your birthday, you know. And she went walking over and she slammed that beer down and spilled a little bit. She goes, are you telling me for 3 years I've been serving you beer in there? I could have lost my license. She was pissed at me, genuinely pissed. But she got over it. Because I was so cute back then.
No.
Yeah, she was one of these ladies that she was in her 40s or whatever, you know, getting in her 50s. But she still had a picture behind the bar of her that somebody had painted, of her sitting there, like one of them Western, half naked, She was a good looking woman, man, when she was young, I'm telling you.
That's pretty interesting.
Everybody caught that, and a lot of people, when that place flooded, everybody says, oh man, the den of iniquity is gone now, Where you Chrysler guys gonna go,
Is there any other like local hangout spots for restaurants or anything?
Yeah, we went over to Stratford House. Actually, that ended up being the final hangout place from what I found out. Stratford House. In fact, there's guys that still hang out there. I heard. I haven't gone over there at night when it's been open. Like I said, I stopped drinking there. I don't drink them. But there was a couple bars. There was one called Jam Inn. All these other people will remember it. Dixon's, and you got to know the owners because you come in there all the time. I mean, Dixon's, it was such a family atmosphere. Old man Dixon and his wife, they were like our mom and dad. They took care of us. You walk in there, as soon as you walk in the door, they knew what you drink and they had it on the bar for you. And fast, And the parking lot was really weird too, because when you pulled in, there was only one way out, And then all these cars would pull in and pull in. So if you pulled in first, you weren't getting out. All these cars would be parked. They just keep falling in, parking. And if you pulled in there first, you were staying.
So did you guys normally bring the new cars that you guys finished building? Just take them out to the bars and stuff like that?
Oh, no, they wouldn't let us take one of their cars out. I mean, I'm telling you, some of the guys have done it. They take them for lunch. You should be caught for it, they get caught. There's some crazy people. I mean, there was things that happened in that place, like, I remember the big stereo theft ring, where this guy's, car stereos, really good ones. Some of the ones that used to put them in cars, and then they'd steal like 20 of them. They put them in the trash company would come, and they caught them doing this. They got fired. come back. They came back to work about 6 months later. They were off work for 6 months without pay. I don't even know how they got back in. They just must have let them. Or maybe they needed help. Instead of retraining.
Yeah.
But they first,
So like, was there a lot of like vandalism or theft that also happened?
There was always somebody's trying to sneak something out of the place.
Because
I remember one guy, he tried to take a set of heads out of there. He had tied a rope around on his shoulder, the engine heads, and had them inside his coat, hanging down here, 2 engine heads. You know how much an engine head weighs? And that, I remember that, and what else? Oh, let's see. I remember there was one period when we weren't selling the cars, and we didn't stop making them. We still made them, right? So we would park them. We filled all our parking lots, which we had a lot of parking lots. Oh, that's another thing. You really learn how to park without running into anything. I mean, we'd bump up the cars a little, and get out and see if you did anything. But I mean, the cars would be so tight. You'd be one of these things where you're doing like this.
Yeah.
So you finally get out. Yeah. But for a while there, they were letting us park our cars at Six Flags.
Oh.
I don't even think you were born yet, right?
Oh.
No, I think that was in the early '80s.
Yeah.
When Six Flags first opened, though, but it's closed during the winter. They don't have nothing back then. They didn't have nothing. But we filled their parking lot. We had that many cars built. I couldn't understand why we were still making them. I figured we all thought we were looking at, come on, lay us off, But yeah, we filled them up.
Okay.
That was fun. You gotta get on the highway and drive to Six Flags.
Yeah.
And you have the bosses in a van, and every time, because I rode in the van with the boss, you drive the van. I don't know how to drive the van. That means I gotta drive in back and forth. Drive there, pick up everybody, bring them all back, pick up more cars, take them. That's what I was the shuttle. Anyway, we'd be driving, and all of a sudden, and he'd go, God dang, I told them guys not to do that. He says, we can't get no tickets out here,
Oh, were there any tickets that were passed to the employees who?
Oh, no, we never did.
Okay.
Thank God.
Yeah, I would wonder how that would go.
I mean, we've had guys that, tickets, because like I said, it's like a city,
Yeah.
And you'd get a call, because I was a alternate shop steward for a while there. But you'd get calls where so-and-so is in jail, I'm not gonna be in tonight, I'm in jail, and stuff like that. So, I mean, Chrysler was really easy on you. If you planned ahead and had an excuse, they pretty well accepted most excuses. They had their own, here's the thing that I didn't mention, but they had their own medical facility there.
Oh, in the plant?
Yeah, I mean, they could do x-rays, they would only transfer you if you needed to go, it was like an emergency room. They were as good as an emergency room. They could stitch you, they could do all that stuff. They could give you shots, and he could remove stuff, anything you would go to emergency room for. But then, you go to emergency room for something, and they'd say, oh, you're gonna have to stay in the hospital then. Well, if that came to that case, where we had guys had heart attacks, like I said, people died from heat exhaustion. But yeah, the ambulance would pull up, they'd say, hey, there goes so-and-so, on the stretcher, And then a little while later, did the ambulance take him away? Yeah, he must have been bad enough to go to the hospital then.
So with like a broken leg or something, it's all
Right.
treated on site.
I've had stitches on site, my knee, that's how they got x-rays there. That's how they found out about my ACL, blowing my ACL. Yeah, that was something, boy.
That's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the doctor, we used to joke about it. Let's see, what was his name? Shapiro. Might be Shapiro. If I'm wrong. Anyway, they used to say he went as far in the medical field school as a pet doctor. They were always giving this guy a hard time. But oh yeah, and then you might as well know this too. You'd say you were hurt, sore muscle, something's wrong, down there. You go over there and you diagnose you, and then they'll give you a pack of door bonds, And it's, here, take these, go back to work. So they had half the crew, anybody was hurting, man, they give you door bonds over there. They drug the workers up here.
Drunk and drugged.
Drugs, we built cars, yes.
Drunk and drugged.
I always told everybody I wanted to write a book, because I got a lot more I could tell you, but I'm not going to, because I don't know what he is.
Man,
And you know who you are.
you should write a book.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
I enjoyed it, guys.